Today I want to talk about the proposed Preston County EMS fee ordinance. I'll be honest, I just learned about this, so when I heard about the fee ordinance, I immediately went ahead and read it. And as I read through it, I had some questions and concerns. And before this moves forward, I feel like the public needs to be given more information to understand what exactly they're being asked to pay, why they're being asked to pay it, and what happens if they can't pay it. That's the biggest issue for me. This is about process, transparency, enforcement, and whether the ordinance is strong enough before it's adopted. So what happened today is I went to the Preston County Commission office to ask some questions about the proposed fee. I had questions about how the fee was calculated, how many people and properties would be billed, how the county would enforce the ordinance, what protections would exist for people who can't afford the bill. I spoke with someone who referred me to Mr. McDonald, who I understand is connected with EMS and the ordinance process. I have reached out to him, but I have not connected with him. When I asked about making a FOIA request, which is a public records request, the person in the office contacted Commissioner Stone, who I was able to speak to over speakerphone. Commissioner Stone communicated that they are not voting on the ordinance on Tuesday. I repeat, she said they are not voting on the ordinance on Tuesday, that was misreported by Channel 12. That's what they told me. They will continue to discuss the ordinance, is what I was told. She also indicated that she was willing to share information with me, which was positive, and plans to call me on Monday to set up a meeting. So overall, that was a good response, and it was a good meeting in the commissioner's office. So why am I covering this? This may become the first issue I cover on this channel, because I think West Virginia needs more local transparency. A lot of decisions that affect people's wallets and daily lives happen at the local level. Fees, ordinances, taxes, water bills, policies, EMS funding, zoning, public records, property rules. Most people don't hear about these issues until after the decisions have already been made. So I'm thinking maybe the purpose of this channel should be to ask hard questions, read the documents, give officials a fair chance to respond, and to keep the public informed. That's my goal. What this ordinance is supposed to do. Based on the draft ordinance, Preston County is considering a special emergency ambulance service fee. The draft says the purpose is to provide and maintain adequate emergency ambulance service in Preston County. It also says the fee is intended to supplement EMS funding, not fully replace other sources. The proposed fee amounts include $90 per living unit, $60 per homestead exemption unit, $60 per recreational unit, which caught my eye. How are they doing that with a recreational vehicle? And $90 per business unit. The draft also says the fee is based on the availability of EMS service, not whether a person actually uses an ambulance. And that matters because this is not a bill for using an ambulance. This is a countywide availability fee. My main concern is show me the money, right? Show the public the math. It needs to be transparent. I want the financial basis for how this fee was adopted. And I want to know what the EMS budget shortfall is. I want to know how much money is needed. How much is this fee expected to raise? I want to know about recreational units, and is that even legal to do that to recreational vehicles? I want to know how much will billing collections cost, and if this fee won't fully fund EMS, then where's the rest of the money coming from? If citizens are going to be billed, citizens should be able to see how the bill was calculated. My second concern is enforcement. The draft ordinance includes late payment provisions. It says delinquent fees accrue interest at 9% per year. It also allows unpaid fees to be collected through civil action and says the county may recover reasonable collection costs, including court costs, attorney's fees, service costs, and interest. That raises a serious question, because what happens to people who can't pay? What happens to them? There are people in this county that are choosing between food and medicine, utilities and gas. So before this ordinance moves forward, the public deserves to know, will the county sue residents over unpaid EMS fees? It's a legitimate question. Will attorney's fees be added to the $90 that people can't already pay? Will court costs be added? Will the county put a lien on your property? Will it garnish your wages? So I think there needs to be a hardship waiver. I think that needs to be discussed. And elderly, disabled, and low-income residents should have protections as well. They shouldn't have to pay. Those are fairness questions, and they should be answered before the ordinance is adopted. My third concern is appeals. The draft ordinance allows an owner to request a modification if they believe the fee was incorrectly assessed. But if the request is denied, the ordinance says the person may appeal by filing suit in court. That's a concern because people shouldn't have to file a lawsuit to challenge an incorrect bill. There should be a more simple, affordable, local administrative appeal process, and the county should build a better process before passing the ordinance. The fourth concern I have is recreational units and campers. This ordinance defines recreational units to include campers, travel trailers, RVs, cabins, and similar structures used for temporary occupancy. Does this include stored campers? Teardrop campers? Does it include something without utilities? What if someone's living in a camper and they can't afford the $90? Who decides these things? What records are used? And how does a person challenge it? We need to have these questions answered before we get billed. Now, I want to be fair. The fact that Commissioner Stone said the ordinance is not being voted on Tuesday is good news. And it does seem like they are willing to share information and set up a meeting. And that's how government should work. If somebody comes in and wants to ask questions, they should respond and try to help as best they can. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm pleased that the commission is slowing this down, that they're not actually voting on it. And now we can use this time wisely to figure out how to better write this ordinance so that it's fair and doesn't leave risk to the county. So what I'm asking for before this ordinance moves forward is I think the commission should release the public packet answering 5 things. Number 1, the financial basis. Number 2, the enforcement policy. I'm talking about fees and lawsuits, attorney's fees. Number 3, a hardship policy. Explain how the county will protect people who genuinely cannot pay. Number 4, the appeal process. We need a more simplistic appeal process for this. Number 5, public reporting. If citizens are paying an EMS fee, monthly EMS reports and fund expenditures should be posted publicly. The draft already requires a report to the commission about calls and refusals, mutual aid, response times, complaints, income, expenditures, and disbursements. That's good, but those reports should be easier to see for the public. I was also told that there may be a possibility of serving on some kind of a civilian review board. If that happens, I would take that seriously, but any review board should have real transparency value. It should be clear whether the board is advisory or has any decision-making power, whether the meetings are going to be public, whether members can review financials and service data, and whether concerns can be reported publicly. A citizen board should not be window dressing. It should help the public understand what's happening. So here's where we stand. The EMS fee ordinance is not being voted on Tuesday, according to Commissioner Stone. That's good. But the question remains, how much money is needed? How is the fee calculated? Who will be billed? What happens if someone can't pay? What legal review has been done? How will the money be tracked? And quite frankly, is there a better way to get the funding? That's something I'd like to look into. So this is about making sure local government is transparent, fair, legally sound, and accountable to the people who have to pay the bill. My name is Greg, and this is Mountain State Questions. We ask hard questions about West Virginia government, one town, one county, one ordinance at a time.